In properties built pre-2000 with a single-phase supply using the largest Thermaflow boiler, the maximum cubic volume achievable with the system is 300 cubic meters. This increases to 400 cubic meters in new builds constructed after 2011. Always check the incoming power supply and the load carrying capacity of the main fuse. In general, 9 kilowatt boilers require an 80 amp main fuse, while 12 kilowatt boilers require a 100 amp main fuse. Next, you should check the proposed boiler location. Ensure the structure can carry the weight of the boiler when full of water, and that there is adequate space in front for servicing and maintenance. Further technical information can be found in the instruction manual. Ensure the incoming cold water supply has adequate pressure and volume in order that hot water can be delivered and so that the sealed central heating system can be filled. Once you are satisfied that all of the above requirements have been met, you should choose a wet electric off-peak tariff and power supplier. Before deciding upon the most suitable boiler for your size of property, you must bear in mind that if you plan to use the Economy 10 or Economy 7 tariffs, a larger volume Thermaflow boiler will allow more energy to be stored when the power is charged at a lower rate. This reduces the amount of electricity used during peak periods. Connecting the pipework is very simple. First, connect the heating flow connection, followed by the return connection. The cold water inlet is connected here, and the hot water outlet is connected here. You should then connect your pipework to the safety relief pipe and discharge in a suitable position in accordance with the instruction manual. Finally, you should locate the primary expansion vessel. This can be on top of the boiler if there's adequate clearance. Connecting the vessel to the corresponding connection labelled on the boiler completes the plumbing element of the installation. Once you have chosen your supplier and wet electric tariff to suit your needs, you should organise the correct meter before the new boiler installation takes place. A 24-hour electrical supply lead may be present at the boiler for controls if required. This supply is necessary if the chosen off-peak tariff or supply is not available 24/7. For example, with the Domestic and Economy 2000 tariff provided by Scottish Power. This allows the pumps and controls to continue to operate to provide some heating and hot water from the reserve remaining in the boiler. A 2-core power lead is wired into all boilers. This must be wired to a programmable thermostat or external heating controls. We recommend using a hardwired control with battery-operated contacts like the Danfoss TP5000SI. The off-peak supply connection point is positioned at the top control box on the boiler. This concludes the electrical installation. If the SSE or Scottish Hydro Economy 10 tariff is being used, an off-peak control is recommended as it will reduce running costs substantially. If the control is asked for, a 5-core power lead will be wired into the boiler. This must be connected to the control. Solar, solid fuel and dual fuel models each have additional plumbing and electrical connections required over and above the standard model. If a solar-compatible boiler is ordered to connect to a thermal solar system, then a 4-core lead will be present on the boiler. This supply is used to power the solar controller. The black switch wire must be connected to the solar pump terminal along with a solar pump in the solar controller provided with the solar system. There will also be a sensor pocket. As well as the additional plumbing and electrical connections, the solid fuel system has an additional thermostat fitted. If a wood burner compatible boiler is ordered to connect to a wood-burning stove with a back boiler, then a 4-core lead will be present on the Thermaflow boiler. This supply must be joined to the 4-core cable which terminates from the junction box along with the additional pump and controls that are provided, and must be installed next to the wood burner. The additional equipment shown here is for the link-up between the wood burner and the Thermaflow boiler. The solar and solid fuel model is a combination of the solar model and the solid fuel model previously shown. There will also be an additional thermostat fitted on the solar and solid fuel model as shown here. The first step in the commissioning process is to fill the system using the filling device shown here. Once the system is filled and set to 1.5 bar, the black cap must be fully closed. The boiler will be purged via the auto air eliminator, which must have the grey screw left loose as shown. There is also a black manual purging screw shown here, which allows the system to be filled more quickly. It must be fully closed after use, as this is an open end. It is important that you flush the system thoroughly, as explained in the instruction manual. Existing open-vented systems, and especially solid fuel systems, are notorious for having sludge build-up, which, if not flushed correctly, can cause problems with the boiler. Please note that damage to the boiler caused by not flushing will invalidate the warranty. Once the system is completely filled and purged of all air, turn on the power supplies. The heat-up period will be dependent on the boiler model installed. Finally, check for the correct operation of the heating system and hot water, adjusting the flow rate and temperature if necessary. The correct flow rate should be between 18 and 25 litres per minute, dependent on the boiler model and the cold water supply pressure and volume. The purpose of the off-peak control is to allow you to program the times when you want the boiler to use electricity to heat it. It allows you to make best use of the off-peak electricity automatically when it's available. This control is also provided when external primary heat sources are being linked to the boiler. This gives you the option to use the electricity to heat the boiler when the external heat sources are unavailable. The programmable thermostat allows you to time when you want heating and to which temperature you wish to heat your house. Your customers' fuel bills can be reduced substantially by setting the off-peak control to make best use of the off-peak electricity to heat the water within the boiler automatically when it's available. Linking solar thermal or a wood burner with a back boiler to the Thermaflow boiler is another way of substantially reducing fuel costs. Turning radiator thermostats down or off in rooms that are not being used is also helpful. For elderly or infirm people who are at home all day, we suggest only having the radiators on in rooms that are being used. It is critical that the installation contractor must explain the correct operation of the heating system and its controls. The logbook must be filled in by the installer and should remain in the instruction pack. The guarantee card must be filled out with all relevant information and returned within 10 working days after installation in order to validate the boiler warranty. In the unlikely event of a breakdown or query concerning your new Thermaflow boiler installation, your first point of contact is the installation contractor. If, after investigation, it turns out there is a fault with the boiler, then he should contact Thermaflow Technical Helpline for advice. All Thermaflow boilers should be serviced annually in order to maintain safe, reliable and efficient operation. This will reduce untimely breakdowns. The fault-finding chart is located in the instruction manual provided with the boiler. It shows 3 symptoms with fault possibilities and has a flow diagram which elaborates on each symptom using a process of elimination to help locate the fault.